Welcome to Book Club The Yappening, a podcast where we discuss every and all things we've read and some of us haven't read, in a safe place where we can yap about life in general. In the description, you'll find links to our Fable, Instagram, and Discord accounts. Please follow for more yapping in different styles. For a warning, we will 100% be spoiling this book, so please pause, go read, and come back to yap.
Let's go. Okay. So today we are going to be talking about Lights Out by Navessa Allen. Disclaimer, this book is spicy, like really, really spicy. I will reference spicy times for the plot, but I won't necessarily go into specifics for the spicy details. But if you're listening to this and you think that it sounds like a book that you're going to want to read, just be forewarned, it is incredibly spicy. It's definitely just fully smut. If that isn't necessarily your thing, just go ahead and listen to this and you'll get the plot of the story and be able to
have to read it.
Leave peacefully.
I have no idea what you just said because I was trying to figure out if Navessa is just Vanessa rearranged.
It is, because when you physically read it, you were like, oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm like, we did have that. Yeah.
I was trying to be spontaneous.
Thank you. Okay, so let's see. Okay. Obviously, if you have any aversion to trigger warnings that I'm about to list now, then skip this one. We'll catch you on the next one. So for trigger warnings, we have sexual content, stalking, murder, death of a parent, SA, specifically the big R one. It's implied and mentioned in this very briefly. Death, cannibalism, car accident, and child abuse. So, we are opening with our girl, Allie. She is currently at work. She is an RN. She's been working back-to-back 15-hour shifts. She works in a trauma hospital in an area that tends to be high-ish crime rate.
I was going to ask what an RN was.
Really?
I mean, I know, but some people don't.
No, I mean, she's a nurse. Like, I get that I work in, like, an area where I deal with that pretty frequently.
Yeah, you use the abbreviations all the time, and
yeah,
I know what they mean, but...
Okay, well, she's a nurse at a trauma hospital, and then, let's see, as we open here, she is currently giving the new girl a pep talk. The newbie has had, like, a really rough first shift, and then Allie is essentially just trying to encourage her because... just as in the real world, like, there's a huge, like, nurse shortage, so it tends to be, like, a struggle bus, especially in, like, hospital settings like that. So, our girl Allie is being real sweet, to the new girl. She offers to give the new girl a ride home because she's, like, super shaken after her first shift. After that, Allie goes home. It's the wee hours of the morning. She's greeted by her very vocal fur boy, Fred, who is a tuxedo kitty. She snuggles up with Fred for what she calls fur therapy after a very rough night. After her snuggle, she gets herself a glass of wine and she starts to scrolling on her phone. Our girl's favorite thing to do is to unwind with thirst traps posted by a user called The Faceless Man. He is a masked fella who posts very suggestive videos online. And by suggestive, I mean, like, not only is it, like, thirst traps in the way one would think thirst traps, but, like, also with, like, knives and, like, fake blood and stuff, so it's, like, pretty dark-sided thirst traps, I guess we can say.
There's a theme.
There is a theme, and then, let's see, so Allie is feeling real tipsy, she's feeling real good into herself there, so she takes a shot of, like, a screenshot of the video she's watching with the Faceless Man, and she sends it on over to her hookup buddy, Tyler, and she essentially asks if he's interested in coming over to spend the weekend with her, for a little masked fun times, and not in, like, the pandemic sort of mask type way. He's surprised to hear from her because she kind of low-key ghosted him a little while back. He passes up on the offer, says he's not really into the mask thing. He's also seeing someone presently, so we love that Tyler doesn't step out on his lady. Cut on over to our male main character, Josh. We're at his POV now. He is in fact the Faceless Man. He also just so happens to be Tyler's roommate. Let's see. So Tyler shows Josh the text from Allie with the screenshot, and that she's inviting Tyler over for the masked times. Josh is pretty shaken up. His identity as the masked man is fully secret from everyone, including Tyler, who has been his best friend since they were kids. Josh just kind of casually says, like, oh, I didn't know Allie was into mask play. He then accidentally deletes the screenshot from the phone because he is scantily clad in the video and he has a lot of tattoos. So he's like, shit, Tyler very much would know that this is me if he, like, takes more than 3 seconds to look at the tattoos. So he accidentally deletes the screenshot. Josh then goes on reminiscing about him very briefly meeting Allie when her and Tyler first started seeing each other. He found Allie to be incredibly attractive, but he made a quick exit from the social interaction he had with her because he looks a lot like his dad. And his dad is a pretty prolific serial killer, think Ted Bundy shaped. He is the hot...
Okay.
all-American guy next door, yep, pretty much. And in this universe, he was known as the Ken doll killer. So Josh basically has like this huge thing of he's like terrified people are gonna look at him and just know who his dad is because they look pretty similar. So if you're in like the true crime realm, chances are good you know what he looks like. So he is kind of like a recluse to some extent, that he doesn't like going out, he doesn't like dating people. It's like a hard no that like no true crime fans are allowed in the apartments, and Tyler very much respects that. Okay, so moving on forward, let's see. When Josh was in high school, he started teaching himself how to like hack and do things like that. Sort of high-tech dude here. He was essentially learning how to hack so that he could remove a lot of traces of like him and his mom from the internet, just to kind of help keep their like anonymity and privacy, especially given basically what his dad had done, essentially, just so that they could have like some privacy and some semblance of a normal life. He also very much deep dives into like anybody that's coming into his or Tyler's life, just because he is very obsessive about making sure that the people he cares about are safe. And he's kind of like, he takes that on as his duty to keep everybody safe. So when Tyler starts seeing anybody new, Josh deep dives onto their background, make sure that they're not like a true crime weirdo, but also, just to make sure that they're not like crazy or anything like that. So essentially Josh knows a lot about Allie kind of from the get-go, just from already deep diving into her. Let's see. So after Josh kind of realizes that Allie is a fan, he goes searching through his DMs and comment sections just to see if she's ever messaged him or commented on anything. He doesn't really engage with the fans, so he never likes or replies to comments or messages. Smart. He just posts videos, yeah. But he's like, okay, cool, so she likes me, so has she been saying anything to me? And homegirl, honestly, our Allie is thirsty as fuck. She is leaving comments in his, videos. Just like a little excerpt here. Sir, I'm at work. How dare you? Is this video why I woke up randomly at 2 a.m.? Did you summon me? Well, this has me feral too early in the morning. And the one that honestly sends Josh into a coma is, how dare you come on my FYP instead of on me? Nick's face.
Those are definitely thirstier comments than I usually see in comment sections. Like, usually men dominate those things with the worst lines ever. And the women are usually a little bit more clever about it. Yeah, I guess. But yeah, so Allie's just all up in it. The last comment sends Josh into like this whole rabbit hole. He's thinking to himself, what would she do if I actually broke into her home? So a week later, that's what he does. He spends the week yes. So he spends a week. He heard the call of the void and answered.
Literally, yes. He's like, you know what? I want her void immediately.
That intrusive thought. I should take that intrusive...
and
seriously.
Then become an intruder, yes.
Yeah.
So he spends a week researching her home, her neighborhood, if she has any security systems, doing drive-bys, checking to see just sort of how he can enter her home and like what security steps he needs to take to not get caught doing that. So he, let's see, while breaking into her home, he wonders to himself if this is the type of thrill his dad got from doing a murder.
What the fuck?
I
can't. Sorry.
Like, literally, this is an ongoing issue for him. He is terrified. He is destined to become a serial killer. So he's constantly looking for signs that he's like his dad. He legitimately has always loved animals, but he's terrified to get a pet because, like, serial killers start off by, like, torturing animals, or they tend to. So he's, like, terrified that if he gets a pet, he'll just randomly want to torture the pet, which is crazy. Like, that's not a normal, rational sort of thing that someone should think. Like, if you love animals, just get an animal. You're not going to randomly want to hurt it, right?
He's a therapist.
But, okay, so here's the thing. When he was a kid, he was in therapy, and then he, like, hacked into his therapist's, like, system and read the notes that the therapist had written about him, and the therapist had said that he exhibits signs that he's likely to become like his dad. So even though that wasn't fucking true, because he read that in his therapist's notes, he's just assuming that that's going to happen to him now. So that's God. Kind of... the issue.
He was his own downfall.
Right. He, like, it's now, like, yes, a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that's a concern for him. So a lot of times when he's doing things that are a little sketchy, he thinks, like, oh, I'm having fun doing this. Did my dad have fun doing, like, sketchy things? Is this how it started for him? So that's, like, kind of a constant thing for him.
I'm trying to remember the trigger warnings. I believe there was arson, but nothing about water sports.
Right.
Because animal abuse, bedwetting, and arson are the McDonald's triangle, which I think is a debunked theory on indications of a serial killer.
And, like, again, he didn't fall into the other two categories of that, and for all intents and purposes, he likes animals. Like, he has never had a desire to hurt an animal, but he doesn't trust himself enough to have a pet, just in case, like, a switch flips the second he gets a pet. So he's, like, very concerned that he's predisposed to become a murder boy. He enters her home. He's greeted by Fred. Again, he's always loved animals. He thinks to himself that because Fred immediately comes up to him and is being very friendly, he's like, well, that's a good sign. If, like, animals have, like, a really good intuition for people, if Fred likes, like, if this cat is coming up to me and being chill and I'm chill with this cat, then, like, that's a good sign, right? Like, I must not be a bad person. And then, so he kind of gives Fred some scritches. Back on over here to Allie. She's, again, at work. She's on break. She's having another rough night, so she decides on her break to unwind by, looking at her thirst trap fella. She opens his newest video, which is taking place in her bedroom. So she is annoyed with herself for opening that video because she notices, like, hey, I have that bedspread and now I'm fantasizing that he's in my room, and so now I'm, like, extra randy. I probably shouldn't have done this in the break room at work, because she's, again, pretending that he's in her room. When she gets home, again, snuggle therapy with her cat, gets herself a glass of wine. We love a wino. And then she notices that sometime in the night, or sometime while she was at work, she must have lost power, because, like, clocks are flashing and stuff. She doesn't really think anything of this. She just goes into her bedroom, again, for the alone time, because she was very excited by matching bedspreads. Once she gets into her room, though, she sees a mask sitting in the middle of her bed. So it is now occurring to her that he did, in fact, break into her house, and that it was, in fact, filmed in her bedroom.
Okay, I need to interject because, listen, this is the definition of fantasy should stay fantasy, because I'm like, that's hot. That's hot to read. I'm like, oh my God, but if that happened to me in real life, I'd be like, what the fuck? but I want to read that.
Like, absolutely no. Yes. Yes. No, it's very good. And it's a trilogy. I haven't read the rest of them. I am going to read the rest of them. And the reason I read this, because I like my stories to be stories and my smut to be smut. I generally don't want smut with a plot. But as an audiobook girly, I heard that this audiobook was really, really funny. And Nick had also heard that, so we had kind of discussed that. The audiobook for this is so fucking funny. Like, that is why I'm like, I have to do a main for this one, because it is so funny. Like, it's a good time, honestly. Like, don't take it too seriously. Obviously, we don't endorse stalking and breaking and entering.
Well, that's why I say fantasy needs to remain fantasy. That's what it is. Like, yes. These things are not okay in real life. Don't try to mimic them, for the love of God.
Correct. But, again, it's hilarious. Okay. So she's now, sees the mask, and she's like, oh shit, are all of those videos, like, real? So, like, when I'm looking at fake blood, was that not actually fake blood? Does he do thirst traps and then pick someone out of his comment section to, like, stalk and or perhaps murder them? So she's, like, at least in the realm of a reality enough to be really freaked out. Like, oh shit, like, is this a thing that he does? Like, does he lure in women with his thirst traps and then he goes on to, like, hurt them?
That's a proper response.
So,
yep.
Exactly. So, let's see. We flip back to Josh's POV. He's watching Allie wander her house with a gun because a homegirl is a badass. And not only did he break in to just film the thirst trap, he then put a camera in her bedroom.
Okay.
So he's watching her. Right.
Okay.
He's watching her do this, and I'm not gonna say Josh is, like, a normal person, and I feel like we definitely know this, and, like, while Josh is not a murder boy, he definitely is, I don't know, because he needs to Google how Allie is feeling. Like, he asks Google what is she feeling right now, as she's literally searching her house with a gun. And
basically
Google,
he ChatGPT'd it.
Right, and he's concerned because he's like, oh, she seems very scared. Like, Google, why is this girl scared? And
so either psychopath or autistic.
Right, autistic, certainly. And then Google tells him that she likely is feeling violated because, again, her space has been violated because he broke into her house. So he feels really, really bad, because he didn't mean to scare her. He just thought that this was going to be, like, a funny haha, like, she's going to like this. And, like, does she like it? Yeah, certainly. But
the remorse is a good sign, though. Yes.
Yeah, even if he is a dingus and had to, like, fucking Google how does a woman feel after I break into her home. So after he sees her searching the house, he Googles, he's like, oh no, I didn't mean to make her feel violated. He now goes on to look at her Google searches because she's, like, just trying to Google a little bit to figure out who he is, just to, like, try to, okay, is the masked man actually, like, a dangerous person? So let's see. After trying to figure out who he is, Allie then goes through his videos again to see where the locations are taken, because, again, she's concerned that he's been breaking into people's houses, but she is comforted to see that all of his videos are filmed in, like, one of 4 locations, every single one except the one in her house. So she's like, okay, cool. He's at least not breaking into everybody's homes. So, like, that's a good sign, right? Like, he's clearly not just out here, like, trying to farm thirsty women to, like, stalk. So, like, cool. And out loud, after doing her, like, search to see where he's filming these, she verbally says, well, at least he's not a serial killer who's luring women through his videos. And he is shocked. He is so shocked to hear that she thought that a man who broke into her home could be a serial killer. He then debates on if he should text her to tell her he isn't a serial killer.
Oh my god.
But then if he does that, she'll know that he's watching her and listening to her while she's talking to herself. So he decides not to do that. Let's see. Okay, so Allie messages him on his account to see if he'd broken her home. Like, I guess you just text him and ask, like, hey, were you in my house? Even though obviously he was in fact in her house. He isn't sure what to do. He knows he shouldn't admit that he broke into her house because, you know, that's a crime and then that would be evidence used against him in the court of law. But our boy Josh is not a gaslighter. He very distinctly is like, I don't want to tell her no because I'm not a gaslighter. I can't do that to her. So, like, we love a man who doesn't want to gaslight. He then goes with the secret third option and just flirts with her instead. She's excited because, again, notoriously, he never responds to anybody, but he is now responding to her messages. So he says, what would you do if I said yes? Which apparently, I guess, couldn't be used as evidence because he's not outright saying it's a yes. She then says, it depends on your intentions. And, oh, he has intentions. He is very flirtily. He tells her, let's see, he can't tell her what his intentions are, because he knows that fear is half the fun for her. And, as a bitch who loves good banter, honestly, I can confirm that these two have really great banter, like, just back and forth. It's so ridiculous and so beautiful. He then sends her a spicy video, and she decides she's gonna have some alone time with the spicy video. And then he quickly turns off the camera that he has in her room because she didn't give consent to watching her diddle herself. So, like, we love that he has some boundaries with himself. Here,
got
so
some morals here.
he's like, oops, she's getting dirty. Right, some morals. Like, I'd say, you know, his moral compass is very skewed, but that's okay. After her personal time, she sees Fred and she thinks, oh God, he hates everybody that isn't me. Poor Fred. He was probably scared to death having some stranger in the house. But, you know, spoilers, Fred actually loved the masked man, and that is the only person besides Allie that Fred has ever been nice to.
That's don't give a shit.
Right. So let's see.
He gave me scritches. We're cool.
Right. And it kind of was reminiscent of how Butters used to hate all men, and then the first time you came over and met her, she was like all up on you. So, like, honestly, we love a fur baby that picks out their own dad.
It helped I smelled like donuts.
You did smell like donuts, yes. So let's see. She is kind of wondering to herself how he got into the house and why he chose her as his target to, like, do this, since he clearly doesn't do this on the reg. She decides that she's gonna reach out to Tyler because she knows that Tyler's roommate is a hacker. So she's like, hey, do you think that your roommate Josh can help me figure out the identity of somebody? So Tyler basically says, like, yeah, that's fine. Let's see. So again, Josh is wondering, by me stalking her, does this make me like my dad? But he rationalizes that he's only stalking her for fun. He's not stalking her to hurt or kidnap her. So,
oh my God.
And also he's trying to deduce if she's into him, which, like, obviously she is into him. So, just, he's such a goober, I swear to God. Like, right, I know. Could you just be a normal person? But no, he's like, well, I'm not stalking her for mean reasons. I'm stalking her for, like, romantic reasons, so it's fine, right?
He doesn't think that his dad had fun or romantic intentions.
I mean, I guess you'd have to define what romance means to you, I guess.
I can say what it means to me. I can't define what it means to a serial killer.
That's so fair, and I'm glad that you can't. Okay. So he's let's see, he's telling himself that he had to break into her house to make the video, and he had to spy on her to see if she was seriously into the masked stuff, because again, you couldn't just strike up an organic relationship and, like, kind of figure that out, like, organically. He had to, like, do all this recon to figure it out. Also, you know, her comments very clearly indicated that she is into this, so realistically his reasonings are very weak at best. Let's see. She decides to then Google if webcams can be hacked because I guess she didn't know that. Like, I don't know. I feel like everybody knows that webcams can be hacked. So like after she has alone time, she's like, okay, back to the work at hand here. And so when she sees that, obviously, yes, webcams can be hacked, she goes to turn off, or she grabs something to cover the webcam, and he just messages her the word don't. So confirming that he is in fact watching her through her webcam. She then just basically goes off on him and then says, "See you soon," and then covers the camera. And then again, she calls Tyler, confirms that Josh, like, absolutely will assist. Josh kind of hears that conversation happen, and he's now internally panicking because, again, he has a lot of tattoos, including hand tattoos. So he's like, cool, Allie's gonna come over. However, how do I cover up the fact that I have the masked man's hand tattoos?
Fingerless gloves.
Yeah, so he decides he's going to wear gloves when she comes over, which is, like, totally normal for someone to just wear full-on fucking gloves in their own home. And
I mean,
Nick
he could just, like,
wears
make
gloves
an excuse
and
and just be like, yeah, they're for carpal tunnel.
Yeah, I wear them because, yeah, I got bad circulation and cold hands. I mean, he puts on gloves and then, like fishnets going up the arms, and you say you're a hacker, no one's going to question it.
Literally, it's part of the hacker
gloves.
uniform.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He walks into the room hacked.
Right.
Room hacked.
So, in the morning, Josh sends her flowers. She tells him that she's more mad about the flowers than breaking in. Right after the flowers, she receives a package, which is a security system, including security cameras, for her to install in her house.
Did you order them, or did he order them?
He ordered them. He sent her flowers and then a security system. Like, bitch, it was too easy for me to get in. Like, I'm gonna need you to up your game a little.
I like a challenge.
Literally.
I like a challenge.
So, right.
It's fine. I had a code from podcasts.
Yes. She goes into her room. She finds the hidden camera that he put in there. So not only did he hack the webcam, he had a physical camera in her room. She then sees the camera, is like, oh god, I got spicy. Did he watch that? She unplugs the camera. And let's see. So she unplugs the camera. Let's see.
So the camera's plugged into something. She didn't notice that, like, a spot and the outlets was taken up.
Right. Anyways, so she thinks, like, oh yeah, he definitely watched me because if I put a camera in his room, I definitely would have watched him. So, like, obviously we know that they're both pervy weirdos. Honestly, match made in heaven. Fast forward, she's back at work. She tunes in for the latest thirst trap. This one is a video of him being a sad boy and just, like, leaning on a window staring out. And then the caption just says, when she's mad at you. And the ladies in the comment section are going absolutely feral and being unhinged because they're like, oh my god, does he have a girlfriend? What is going on? Why would she ever be mad at him? He's so perfect. So she comments under the video, when she has a good reason to be mad at you. He promptly likes this comment. Her phone then starts blowing up because, again, notoriously, he does not interact in the comments, and now he has very publicly interacted in the comments. So everybody is, like, messaging her, like, oh my god, you're dating him, that's crazy. Like, also just, the unhinged, like, girls of, like, how dare you, like, he's awesome, why would you be mad at him? So, like, she's getting fucking blown the fuck up.
She made herself the main character on the internet.
Right. So she mutes her notifications. She's really aggravated, and she decides she's just going to flip off the security camera in the break room, just in case he has hacked that as well. And then he texts her rude, so she knows, in fact, he has hacked the hospital cameras. So he's just watching Homegirl everywhere she goes. Let's see. Also, throughout this, like, Allie is just very much feeling special. Like, she's, like, aggravated that he's doing this, but she's also like, ooh, he likes me, type of thing. So we love the dichotomy of that. Literally. So, she goes on and plays hard to get. She banters with him, telling him that he's breaking a bunch of laws. He just tells her that she doesn't know the half of it. Banter, banter, banter. He tells her that he has no regrets about publicly claiming her, by posting the sad boy video. Which again, she absolutely finds this titillating. She loves it. He tells her he'll stop if she asks him to. So essentially, like, hey, if you want me back off, I will. But before she can respond to that message, an emergency rolls in. So she has to kind of jump back into action as a nurse. She works an additional 20 hours. So she's already been there. She's already taking her break. And now a huge emergency comes in. So she's ends up working like a full 20 plus hour shift. When she goes to leave for the night or the day, it has been snowing. So there's like a ton of snow. She goes out to her car because she's just going to get some stuff out of her car and call like an Uber home because, again, she's been working. There's a lot of snow. She doesn't want to drive in bad conditions. She doesn't want to drive while she's exhausted. But when she goes out to her car, she sees that it's running and there's a man sitting in her car. So he texts her from inside of her car to tell her that she should not be driving because the roads are bad and he knows that she's exhausted. He tells her that he's there to drive her home and that he has a gun and a knife in the car for her to feel safe being in the car alone with him. And all of this communication that is going to be occurring in this scene is all being done through text because he doesn't want her to hear his voice. So she gets into the car, he lets out a breath he didn't know he was holding, because of course he was. That's not a joke. Literally, the trope was troping. She holds him at gunpoint, and he thinks to himself that she is holding the gun, but her finger's not near the trigger, so that must mean she likes him. On the way home, on the way home, she asks him to flash her, which he doesn't immediately do, so she pokes him with the knife, and she says, all this time, you were trying to reinforce that I'm safe with you, but did you ever consider if you were safe with me?
Queen.
So she's basically like, I want to see what you're packing, let's go. Things get spicy. She calls him a good boy. And then, let's see, spicy times continue to be spicy. She accidentally stabs him in the hand while she's performing on him. And after being stabbed, he finishes. Once Allie's face is no longer busy and she noticed that his hand has been stabbed, she says, "What did you do to yourself?"
Victim blaming.
Literally.
Oh my god.
Although I don't know who's the victim in this scenario.
Right. So he refuses to go to the hospital because she didn't mean to stab him. Also, you know, he did kind of like carjack her, more or less. So when they get back to her house, she brings him inside. She like cleans his wound. She does stitches for him. And she, while she's doing that, Fred, like, climbs up into his lap and is, like, cuddling with him, and she's like, that's weird as fuck, this cat hates everybody. She takes the bloody gauze from her, like, bandaging and tending his wound, she puts it in a baggie and sticks it in her freezer, and she thinks to herself, well, you know, if he kills me, at least I have his DNA in the house, so that's a safety precaution, I guess. He thanks her for all of her hard work and for the stitches, and then,
calls her a hero.
Basically, yes. He then tells her to get some rest, and he leaves. 12 hours later, she wakes up to a door in her house closing. She thinks back to the night before, how much she enjoys not knowing who he is, but she also wants to know who he is. And she wants to break into his house. So she wants to figure out who he is so she can break into his house. I know. like, she's a little psycho too, and God bless her, honestly. So she goes into the kitchen and she sees that there's pancakes in her fridge. So someone broke into her house and has left carry out, and like she woke up to a closing door, so she had to have known someone was in the house at that point anyways. She heads outside and she sees that overnight there's a foot of snow that has accumulated, but her driveway and her sidewalks have been like shoveled and cleared. And her neighbor comes out and tells her that she's lucky that she has a handsome man and that he shoveled her out this morning. Basically like, hey, like, your handsome boyfriend like took care of this like lucky girl. And Allie's like, oh, cool, so she must have seen his face, right? Because, like, obviously he's not outside in his mask shoveling my sidewalk, because that would be really, really weird. But there's no way for me to ask her what he looked like, because she thinks he's my boyfriend. So it can't just be like, what did my boyfriend look like?
He was wearing his ski mask, right? Because I wanted to protect his beautiful face.
Right. So, and it's not a ski mask, it's like a... I don't even know what the mask looks like. They may have described it, but generally speaking, it's normally like a skull light up blue and black kind of moment mask.
Yeah,
is generally what I see in
like type
fan art and stuff.
The book covers have like the mask kind of on it.
Yes.
Dogs. I see it all the time at Barnes and Noble.
Yeah, so it's yeah. So let's see. Okay. So she can't obviously ask the neighbor what he looks like, but she asks, like, oh, did he, like, say anything to you while you were out here with him? And she tells Allie, he just said that you guys had a small fight, and so he was shoveling to make it up to you. You need to hold on to that one, because it's, like, hard to find a man who, you know, is nice, I guess, which, I mean, isn't untrue. So Tyler texts Allie later in the morning and says... hey, you can head over. Josh is ready, like, whenever you are. I'm not going to be here, but are you okay being alone with him? And she's obviously fine. Again, Josh is going to be wearing gloves for this occasion, so he's decided before she comes over, he's going to turn off the heat and open all the windows to make the apartment incredibly cold. So when he puts on gloves, he can just be like, oh, there's an issue with the heat. I'm wearing gloves because it's so chilly in here. He also puts on an oversized sweater just so that she won't notice that he's very excited to see her. And yeah. So, okay, Allie enters the apartment and she shakes his hand, and very aggressively squeezes it, like, because she immediately is suspicious by the gloves that, like, oh, is he the masked man? Like, is that what's going on? So when she shakes his hand, she, like, squeezes where she put the stitches, just to see if he reacts. And he does not, in fact, react. He has solid poker face here. They get to work on the computer. She tries to keep things vague. She does show him the faceless man's profile, and tells Josh, like, I'm trying to figure out who this guy is. And Josh asks if she's a rabid fangirl, and that stalking is a serious crime that he doesn't want to participate in. So she tells him that it's not the case. It's a super long story that she doesn't necessarily want to get into with him. He tells her he just wants to make sure that he's not going to be an accomplice to murder or anything like that by helping her track down this guy. And she says that he should be more worried that she's going to get murdered, and Josh is really, really hurt by that, because clearly he hasn't done enough to prove that he's not going to hurt her. He's like, oh man, I need to do more to make her know that I'm a nice guy. So let's see. She tells him that if she thought he was actually going to hurt her, she would have gone to the cops. But she tells Josh that she just wants to get this guy back a little bit. He's been messing with her. She thanks Josh again. She, like, reaches out and thanks him by putting her hand on his and then again squeezing the hand that had the stitches just to gauge his reaction. And again, he does not react. But let's see, he ponders how he can play this and kind of make her think that he's helping her without actually helping her. Fast forward, Allie is home from work again, so new day. She's thinking about how she's 100% certain that Josh is the masked man, despite him, relatively speaking, being good at, like, covering up the fact that he was the masked man while they were interacting. And then, let's see. So she knows Josh is the masked man. She's trying to figure out how she can, like, fully, like, confirm, yes, she is correct. When she comes home from work, she's hoping that he is in her house. He is not. She does decide to put his hidden camera back up and turn it back on, because she's going to have some fun times with herself, and she's trying to entice him to come over. So while she's kind of doing her thing, the power goes out. She then hears a man with a voice changer tell Fred that mommy and daddy need alone time. He comes into her bedroom and tells her not to stop on his account, and then things get spicy. The spiciness does, unfortunately for her, involve her needing a new mattress. And no, I'm not going to elaborate further on what that means. So Jessy, you can have a good time finding that one out on your own.
Oh no, I'm probably buying this book after I read The Hunger Games as a reward. Just so you know.
It's really good. I would highly recommend, most definitely. So the next morning he makes her breakfast, but the breakfast is really, really bad. Like, she will repeatedly think about how bad this breakfast is. He made her eggs and bacon, but, like, the bacon was, like, not cooked at all. Because, spoilers, if he's not vegan, he's a vegetarian. Because one of his dad's victims was put into hamburgers and served at a neighborhood block party.
Ew.
Yeah, so he doesn't know how to cook meat, but he tried to make her, like, bacon and eggs anyways. So he's, like, just really horrific at cooking. Let's see. Yeah, so while he is making her this breakfast, though, she goes and she sticks a tracker in his bag so she can see, like, where he lives. After he leaves, she opens up her laptop to, like, watch the tracker. But because he knew that she had done that, he ends up driving in a pattern that just spells LOL before, like, disabling the tracker. So let's see, she slams the laptop shut and goes over to the camera and says, "I bet you're real proud of yourself, Josh," before, like, turning off the camera. Oh, no, before she does that, she says, "I'm sure it's you, and I've taken a piece of hair off your sweater when I hung out with you the other day, so I will be testing that against the blood. So I am going to deduce that this is you."
Really sure, despite having no evidence other than gloves.
Right. And I'm only mentioning the DNA portion because that is going to, like, come into play, like, later on. But Josh thinks to himself that it was Tyler's dirty sweater, so there's no possible way his hair could be on it. It's definitely Tyler's hair that she pulled off of it, which I don't know how that is, like, a thing, but that ends up actually being a thing. So anyways, Josh is super, super smart. He, like, is one step ahead of the game all the time. Let's see, fast forward, back at the hospital with Allie. A man who has clearly been in a fight is in the ER. Allie asks a coworker why she recognizes him, and it turns out he had been in the hospital pretty recently. He was brought in with a woman. The woman he had actually assaulted. So the fight that he was in on this evening was between him and her brother. So, like, the victim's brother found him in a bar and, like, kicked his ass pretty much. So the nurse that is assigned to this guy is very similar to the girl that was brought in with him as his victim. So she's like, "I'm gonna take this guy because you look just like his last victim, and if you're his type, I don't want you near him." So she enters the room and notices that he has fully dead eyes. Lifeless eyes. Like a doll's eyes. He asks her for her name, and she gives him just a random last name that they use whenever they have somebody in the ER that they're, like, tending to, and they just, for whatever reason, are uncomfortable and don't want to give them their actual name. So she says that she's Nurse Hanover. She says she doesn't have a first name. Her name is just Hanover. He tells her his name is Brad. It doesn't really matter, but Nick knows that I have beef with Brad. So Brad is antagonizing her while she's in there, like, tending to him. He tells her that he knows she was here the last time he came in, and if what the woman had said about him is true, then why isn't he in jail? Basically, like, that couldn't possibly have been real, right? Like, obviously I didn't do it because I'd be in jail if I did. But spoilers, mommy and daddy are rich, and that is why he's, in fact, not in jail presently. He then goes on to say that the victim wasn't a high-quality woman and that she was likely just looking for a payout. And I added that just so we can have a very clear picture of, like, what kind of a trash human this guy is. Allie is keeping her cool. She knows that he's obviously just trying to elicit a reaction out of her. That is until she has her back to him and he tries to grab her. She sidesteps him, and when she turns around, he's smiling and says, "Oh, you must be very jumpy. If you're so afraid, like, if you're acting really afraid of me, why are you being so jumpy?" type of thing. She then very calmly says that she isn't afraid of a shrimp dick spoiled brat. She tells him that he should try grabbing her again because she'd love to see how a coward holds up to a woman that's actually conscious. He then starts screaming for help. He tells the security guard who enters the room that she's threatening him. Let's see. Brad is going to become a major part later on down the line. That is why I am mentioning him. However, unfortunately, when security enters the room, he says, "Allie, are you okay?" So now Brad knows at least Allie's first name. Let's see. Allie then goes on to have, like, a really, really bad night. Her next patient was a middle-aged woman who was in a severe car accident. This is a trigger for Allie because when she was a teenager, her and her mother were in a really bad car accident, and her mother ended up passing away from that, which is why Allie became a nurse, so that she can help save other, like, people from losing their parents, sort of thing. But because, again, she was tending a woman who was roughly her mom's age, who was in a car accident, she's just very emotional about this. Let's see. Josh, again, is watching Allie at work. He notices that she's clearly, like, off, that she, like, just seems like she's not in a very good place right now. He did watch the full alter.
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Yes.
You okay, Allie?
Absolutely. He had seen the altercation with Brad, and he's like, "I knew that guy shook her up. I'm curious what he said to her, but she's a total badass, and I know that's not why she's, like, upset the rest of the shift." He doesn't necessarily know what's going on, but he can tell that, like, she's just not really doing okay.
She does have his hand.
Right. So he does go on to do research on Brad because he's not happy with how Brad was, like, dealing with Allie. And then he reaches out to Allie and asks if she needs a ride home. And he says, "If you don't need a ride home, I would prefer if you took an Uber because I can tell that, like, you're really emotional." She says that she's going to take an Uber home and that she just needs a little space and needs to be alone for a while. So he goes to her house and breaks in.
Oh my god.
Right. He makes her some tea, which he then promptly spills on himself. So he makes her tea and he goes into her bedroom, and she has gotten out of the shower and she's brushing her hair, and she turns around and he's just standing there with a cup of tea. So she throws her hairbrush at him because she's, like, genuinely startled, and so he spills the tea and burns the shit out of his hand. But after she realizes it's him, she tells him that she needs to get him a collar with a bell on it so she can, like, hear him.
I think he just wants him to wear a collar.
Right, literally. And he does kind of make, like, a, ooh, kinky. But anyways, so he, let's see. Allie tends to his burn. Afterwards, Allie opens up to Josh about her mother, letting him know, like, hey, this is, like, my trauma. That is why this was, like, a really difficult evening. Josh then goes on to discuss Brad. He shares the info he's learned about Brad, mostly that Brad is an awful person, whose parents keep bailing him out of, like, all of his situations so that he's never actually facing consequences for anything. Allie tells Josh what Brad said to her, and Josh, being the MMC of a dark romance, wants to be violent to Brad, which, like, as do we all, honestly. Things get spicy from here. They end up sleeping an entire day. The next night, they're awoken to the sound of an alarm going off. The alarm is coming from Josh's phone, but the alarm that's going off is the one he set up for if someone is within 1 foot of her backdoor camera and is there for multiple minutes. So someone has not only come up to her back door, but has been standing there. So it's not like someone just quickly passing by. They are very close and just standing at her back door. So that alarm is going off.
Josh's alarm, not hers.
But it's for her door. It's on his phone.
Yeah.
Because, again, he is a control freak and just needs to make sure everybody's safe. But the alarm is coming from his phone. Let's see. Josh, being the gentleman that he is, he gets up to go investigate. Josh approaches the back door and he hears the sound of someone picking the door lock. So he waits for the intruder to enter the house. It is another masked man. Once the intruder has entered the house, Josh knocks him out cold, punches him in the face, pulls him fully into the house and closes and locks the back door just in case, like, someone else was with the guy. Like, if there's a second intruder, like, I would rather them also have to break in than for me to have to fight, like, another person right now. So he pulls him in, locks the door. Allie is right behind Josh, even though he asked her to stay put, and she says, take his mask off, and lo and behold, it is in fact Brad. Brad has come with a backpack full of supplies. Let's see. So, Allie has him remove the mask. She wants to basically shoot Brad. Like, okay, this is Brad. I want to kill him because obviously he was up to no good by breaking in. Josh immediately talks her out of it, saying that the gunshot is going to draw attention. She then very calmly says, fine, we'll just beat him to death. I know people who can dispose of a body, which honestly, badass, love it. Josh again talks her out of that, stating that if Brad has his phone with him, then the cops will know that he came to her house, even if his body is disappeared. So realistically, she could potentially still be caught by doing that, so, like, let's not. Let's see. Josh grabs a pair of gloves and searches through Brad's backpack. Inside the backpack, Josh finds, what he considers to be a kill kit. Zip ties, rope, chloroform, trash bags, knife, bleach, rags, etc. Josh is very certain that he was there to assault and then kill Allie, which is likely to be the case here. And Josh is like, well, if he brought all of the stuff, he's clearly killed people before, because you don't come this prepared to your first murder type of thing. Once Josh confirms that Brad does not have his phone on him, Allie stomps on Brad, and then punches him in the head. As he's like, she stomps on his crotch, he starts waking up from the pain, and then she punches him in the head.
Queen.
So, like, we love a girl. Yep. Allie then tells Josh that Brad needs to die. Josh totally in agreement with this. Together, they come up with a plan that they're going to hog tie Brad, take him out to the property of his most recent victim, who has an ex-Marine husband and an ex-Army father. So Josh is like, we'll tie him up, we'll take him out to their property, leave him there, and then when they find him, they will take care of him. So, like, they'll get to have their revenge, and Brad will be gone, and we won't actually have to do anything. They tie Brad up, they duct tape his mouth, they get him into the trunk. They drive him out to the destination. They get out. Allie opens the trunk and her eyes go really, really wide. And she looks at Josh and says, I think we're going to have to go with my backup plan. When Josh taped Brad's mouth, he also taped his nose. So Brad is no longer alive. So we now get to learn why Allie knows people who can hide a body. On the way to the backup plan, Allie, wait, hang on. Well, on the way to Allie's backup plan, Josh begins getting into his head. Okay, yeah, so he's thinking, about now, oh god, I just killed somebody, like, I'm destined to be a killer like my father type of thing. He also keeps sort of, having this, like, revelation that what Brad did to Allie was exactly what Josh did to Allie. Like, the intents were different, but, like, that was a really bad person, and he did a really bad thing, but I also did that really bad thing, even though I wasn't there to hurt her. So he is kind of, like, feeling very remorseful about breaking into her house, but he is also being in his head, like, I have actually killed somebody now, so, like, I am a murderer like my father. He tells Allie that he's worried that he's destined to become a killer. He then verbally compares what he did to Allie with what Brad did to Allie, and Allie tells him that he and Brad are not anything alike, and that by killing Brad, they had actually likely saved a lot of women from, like, not only being assaulted, but likely being murdered. Like, he was a bad dude, he was going to keep hurting people, so yes, you did kill him, but inherently that was a good thing for you to have done. So, let's see. Okay, so she also is like, you're not destined to become a murderer, that's really weird, why would you think that type of thing? Josh just says it's not the time for a lore dump. They decide that this has become a real bonding moment. Josh goes on to say, the couple that slays together stays together.
He's so messed up during all this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's...
No, I don't think he is.
So at some point she found out who he was for reals?
Yeah, I do think that he took the mask off. At this point. Yeah, because where they're going, he definitely isn't wearing a mask when they get there, so at some point. But, I know they did the sexy things in the mask, and he slept in the mask. I don't know specifics when the mask came off, but I do know that when he woke up, he thought he had gone blind, because his mask had, like, turned around. Also, he was using a Batman voice because he wore a balaclava instead of his regular mask when he came over that time. And his regular mask he had attached, like, a voice changer to, but the balaclava didn't have that, so he's like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to use, like, Batman voice. So, let's see, okay. Bonding moment, Allie thinks that he's gone above and beyond. So she's thinking to herself, like, he's, like, done so much for me. Like, nobody has ever, like, gone this far. Josh is really the definition of, if he wanted to, he would. So Josh asks her to be his girlfriend. She says yes. They are now official. Allie then goes to lore dump that her extended family is in the mafia. Her father had told her if she ever got into any trouble, she needed to call her uncle Nico. Nico is a cleaner, meaning a crime scene cleaner, and not in the way that our beloved Cora was a crime scene cleaner. He is a mafia fixer, essentially.
Cora's in Bad Eater, not Legend of.
Correct, yes. So... Okay. They get to Nico's very large house. They pull up to the gate. Allie hits the call button. She says, I'm Nico's niece. Tell him I'm here. The gates open up. They pull up to the house. Garage opens. Nico's standing there in his robe, just waiting for them. Josh introduces himself to Nico. Allie thanks him for his help. And Nico says, don't say another word, get into the house, type of thing. They get into the house. Nico makes them some coffee. And he asks Allie, like, what do you need? Because that side of the family is in the mafia, Allie has, for the most part, been estranged from them, just because her dad didn't necessarily want anything to do with that side of the family, but it was always, like, if Allie needed anything, Nico was fully ready to be there and help her, and if she needed anything, her dad was like, absolutely go to him, because he will be able to take care of anything for you.
In case of emergency only.
Right. So, like, she didn't involve herself with Nico, but it's not like Nico was like, well, you kicked me out of the family, it's like, go away. He very much, like, wants to have a relationship with Allie and is very much ready to, like, lay down and do whatever she needs. So let's see, while inside he makes the coffee, she says that they have a body in the trunk. Nico then freaks out and is like, I'm being watched by the feds. Why the fuck did you bring the body with you? Like, you did not need to bring him here. Like, I would have taken care of it, but he should not be at my house. So, Nico then brings his son Junior into the room. The plan is for Allie to drive the car with her cousin in the front seat, basically posing as Josh, so the people watching just see Allie arrive and then shortly after leave with the person she came with, essentially. And Josh is to stay at Nico's, so that there's not an extra person in the car leaving, but also so Josh can fill Nico in on the full details of what has happened and why there is a body in their trunk. So let's see. Josh, they leave. They're gonna go dump the body, Allie and cousin. Josh fills in Nico with everything that happened, who Brad is, why he's in the trunk, why he broke into Allie's house. Nico is like, cool, calls his other sons into the room and is like, you guys gotta go over to Brad's house. We need to do a smash and grab and take his computer because he likely has information about Allie on the computer, so we need to make sure that not only are we disappearing him, but anybody who does any search into his electronics won't see any traces of Allie. She's not even going to come up at all, so we'll be, like, fully good to go. Josh offers to go with them to help turn off any security systems they might have there so that it's easier for them to get in without being, like, seen entering the house to grab the computer. Josh texts Allie, updates her on what is going on, and tells Allie, go grab a couple things, go grab Fred, and then head over to my apartment so that, like, your uncle and people can come through and clean the house. When Josh and company get to Brad's house, they see that the place is crawling with cops. So the cousins immediately freak out and are like, you guys fucked up. Why are the cops here? Like, if you just killed him, the cops should not be at his house right now. Like, what happened? But turns out the cops were actually there to serve Brad with an arrest warrant for his most recent victim. But he's not there. So this is also kind of a good thing because it now looks like he maybe just dipped out instead of like he's running from the cops type of thing. So Allie gets to Josh's. She gets her and Fred settled in. While Allie's settling in, her friend Fern calls her. Fern works in the lab, and she was the person that Allie tasked with comparing the hair and the DNA sample. Fern basically says that the hair and blood were not a match, but Fern, being a, like, fucking down-ass bitch, digs in a little bit more into whose blood that was. Like, she runs through, like, DNA systems to see, like, can I find a match somewhere else? Like, if this hair wasn't the right match, can I figure out who this was anyways? So Fern is calling to tell her that the blood sample belonged to the child of the Ken doll killer. So the DNA was enough of a match to this prolific serial killer that clearly that serial killer was this person's father. Allie is now like, oh shit, is that why Josh said he's destined to become a killer? But then also, again, I don't really know this guy. Like, he broke into my house. We've just been, like, doing spicy things for, like, a week or however long. But, like, I don't actually know this guy, and I knew nothing about him. Like, that's kind of scary, right? So, She then, being, like, an intelligent human, instead of just, like, doing the trope of, like, not communicating anything, she's like, well, I'm just gonna go ask Tyler. Like, Tyler's here, so let me just go say, like, hey, you know, tell me about your boy Josh. And so Allie goes in and asks Tyler about Josh's dad. And Tyler is basically like, I'm not going to give you Josh's story. That is not my place to tell you. And Allie says, I want to hear what you think about Josh as a person, though. Like, I want to know your insight as to Josh. Like, you know him better than anybody else. You don't necessarily have to give me the full details, but is he like his dad? Like, can you at least share that with me? And Tyler is very much like, absolutely not. He's nothing like his dad. He is a little bit of a goofball. He is a little bit of a weirdo. If you're involved with him, he is going to be way overbearing, but it's because he cares a lot about keeping the people he loves safe. But also, if you aren't okay with this, if you're gonna be weird about this, I need you to fucking figure it out now and not drag this out and break his heart. Like, you need to cut shit off now if you can't be cool about it. So we honestly love communication, right? So, basically, yeah. So Allie decides that she's
a rare trope.
Right. I know, and I honestly hate the, like, stupid miscommunication breakup. It's like, just fucking talk to people. Like, I can't let shit go as, like, a human being. I just refuse. So, like, I'm never not going to, like, confront people about anything, you know? Like, I'm always going to get to the bottom of shit, so...
As you get older, you just realize that if you just open your mouth and ask,
right,
you'll get either an explanation or you don't need them anymore. So...
Right. I mean, and I've always been like that, because it's just kind of one of those, like, things, because my brain will pop up, like, 70 different, like, possibilities, and I'm always going to need to know what the, like, truth is behind any situation, like, and that's just pretty curiosity driven of me too, but, you know, like, I'm always going to be a person that's asking questions. Anyways, so, Allie thinks to herself, like, you know, poor Josh, I need to, like, sit down and talk to him and tell him I know everything, but also tell him that, like, I'm a down bitch. Like, I'm here. It's good. And there's no worries here. So Josh comes home. He fills in Allie about the cops being at Brad's. They were there to serve him with the arrest warrant. As Josh enters, Tyler is like, she knows about your dad, bye. And then he just, like, leaves. So they have, like, right, they have, like, a really nice talk, and then they, like, have a really nice, shower together, after that. So everything's chill. That storyline is, like, tied up in a bow and put to bed. The next morning, they go back to Allie's house. When they get there, they find an SUV in the driveway. It is empty. They get inside and they find that her whole house has been deep cleaned. It smells very, like, nice and fresh. And her cousin is sitting at her table drinking coffee, waiting for them. Junior tells them that he's there to get Josh because they need to go back to Brad's. And they're going to wipe the computer rather than doing a smash and grab. And the deal is that they are going to... They've done the hiding of the body. They're going to do the computer thing. Like, that's fine. But she's going to pay them back by having dinner with them once a month. Because, like, that's all they want. Is, like, Nico is just, like, family is the most important thing. Like, I've done this huge favor for you, happily, but I am your family. You're going to treat me like family. If I'm going to go out on a limb like this, we're going to be family.
Like, that was me, talk to us.
Yeah. Yeah, and she is pretty resistant to it, but again, like, they've done this big thing, and then she thinks, well, if Lorelai and Rory Gilmore can have dinner with, like, their parents, it was a whole thing, but she, like, relates it to the Gilmore Girls. She's like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. Like, I can manage to have a monthly dinner. So, let's see. Allie says that she's going to go with them to Brad's, and they're like, absolutely not, and she's like, I just want to be a part of the party, kind of thing. Like, she's like, I'll stay in the car, but I just want to go. Like, I don't want to be sitting at home worried about what's going on. I would rather be there with you. I'm happy to wait in the car, but I'm going. She promises to wait in the car. Spoilers, she does not wait in the car. Anyway, so they roll up to Brad's. Cousins and company, they are full spy gear. They are dressed in all black. They have, like, little fucking microphones in their turtlenecks. Like, they are, like, full spy, like, mafia dudes right now. So they enter the house, and they are immediately greeted with a very stomach-churning smell. The mafia dudes spread out and search the house for what the fuck that smell is. Josh heads through the house to find the office so he can get to the computer and do his, like, Josh techie stuff.
Hackery.
Right. Josh enters the office. As he's sitting down at the computer, a voice through, like, the earpiece, says, "We have a problem down here." In Brad's basement, there are 2 very large piles of cat litter. And the source of the smell is coming from these big piles of cat litter. Someone says, "Does Brad have a fucking tiger or something?" And then Josh very quickly says, "The smell is likely coming from dead bodies. Cat litter is used to cover up smells. It is also used to help absorb any liquids coming off of decomposing bodies." So the leader of the mission just goes, "Everybody out now. Like, just get the fuck out of the house. Like, we're done here," because they're like, okay, people are going to come in and search Brad's house, but if they're just searching him to serve him with a warrant, they're not going to be combing the house in, like, you know, scrubbing for DNA and looking for prints, all this stuff. They're just coming in, they're going to do a search, and then they're going to leave. But if there's dead bodies, they are going to be doing a thorough search. They are going to, like, up and down DNA. So we got to get out, because there's more likely that we are going to leave some trace if they're going to be going through the house with a fine-tooth comb. So everybody get the fuck out. Josh refuses to leave. He says, "It's only going to take 5 minutes. Like, let me just do my thing." The leader says, "We're leaving. You're either coming or you're not." So he's like, "Well, I'm here to protect Allie. I'm going to do my 5-minute computer thing, and then I'll be leaving." Allie, is in the van. She's listening to everything. She tells her cousin that she's going to stay with Josh. She's going to wait outside the house. She's not going to go into the house, but she is going to be getting out of the van to wait for Josh there. And basically, the plan is they have, like, lookout cars stationed. So those cars will be staying. Everybody's going to get in the van and leave and go to, like, the rendezvous point. I don't know why I said it like that, but Allie's like, "Okay, we'll do the thing, and then we'll go meet up with you at that sort of rendezvous point." So let's see. Josh tells Allie that she has to wait outside. She's like, "Yep, no problem. I'll wait outside."
Does she wait outside?
She does wait outside.
Wow.
I know. So Josh gets in, he sets up the computer, gets it running. He decides, like, hey, I should probably look for Brad's phone. So he goes to the bedroom. While he's in the bedroom to get the phone, Allie says, "I think a car just pulled up into the driveway." She's like, "I can't go look because there's a ton of snow and they'll hear me crunching towards them, but I'm so certain I just heard a car pull into the driveway." So Josh peeks out the window. Yep, there's a car absolutely in the driveway. He takes off to the office, locks himself in the office. Whoever has pulled into the driveway has now entered the house, and they are immediately going to the office. Josh is wondering who is there and why they're there and why they're very specifically coming directly to the office. He then hears a man say, "It's locked, I'm kicking it down." A woman then says, "Don't, it'll look too suspicious when the police come with a search warrant." The people in the hall then go to look for the office key. The man in the hall says, "If Brad left the country, I'm disowning him this time." So Josh is like, okay, cool, this is his parents. They're likely here to pull sort of whatever evidence of his, like, assault crimes is on the computer. That's likely what they're here to do, is just to cover up for his crimes. But also they're fucking fed up with his shit. So let's see. Josh decides that instead of wiping the computer, he's going to make a full copy of the computer so that even if they tamper with it, like, the evidence is still there. So Josh does computer stuff. let's see. Once the computer stuff finishes up, Josh decides that he should just jump out the window of the office instead of trying to make his way back through the house. He jumps out the window and takes a lot of damage on the way down. Like, he is, like, fucking hitting the pergola as he's, like, falling. He's all beat up, like, fucking broken ribs, all this shit. He gets to the patio. Allie helps him up. She tries to drag him into the woods, but he says wait, and then he picks up a patio chair and throws it through the door wall, smashing it, causing the house alarm to go off. That way police can come, and the parents will now have less time to tamper with any evidence. So they flee off through the woods. They get to the meetup point. Once they get there, Junior tells them that the cops are, like, they're descending on Brad's house. They're searching the area, and he has received word that the police found the bodies, after, like, getting to the house. So fast forward, Allie and Josh are at their first family dinner with Nico. Nico tells them that the cops found no trace of Allie, so she is in the free and clear, and the police believe that the person who broke the door wall and fled through the woods that night was Brad, because the mafia dudes made Josh wear Brad's size shoe, so the police essentially knew someone else was there because there's 2 sets of footprints, but because the footprints match Brad, they assumed that Brad, like, left and fled through the woods into the night. The mafia guys also had a Brad lookalike take money out of Brad's account through an ATM at the Canadian border. So Josh's car was found by the mafia people. It was stripped and sold for parts. So there's no trace of Brad's car. It looks, for all intents and purposes, that Brad has fled the country. And everybody's good to go. We are free and clear. The end.
What a story.
Yeah. I know. It is so silly.
I'm here for it.
It's not it's not as wild as I was expecting it to be, just from seeing people's reactions on Book Talk.
Yeah.
Like, I know you said the
it's probably the sexy
really good,
stuff,
the way
honestly.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's probably more the reaction.
Yeah.
Which our clips are already getting age restricted. There ain't no way we talking about that on here.
Yeah. I know. And I don't necessarily want to, like, be giving the nitty-gritty details, but, like, yeah. Also,
we saved that for the smutting.
Just, some of the stuff is... It is for the smutting, you're right. And I can't wait until we have enough of a, like, pool of people so that we can be doing, more videos on the side there. But yeah, the spicy scenes are very spicy. And they aren't just your typical, like, spicy scenes. You know, like, there are items involved.
There are
that
items
maybe shouldn't normally be used in a bedroom scenario. Also, it's just so silly. The interactions are so silly. Like, at one point, like, there is a knife involved, and it is inserted places. And before he does that, he, like, takes out a wet wipe and cleans the knife so she doesn't get an infection. And, like, we honestly love a mindful king. So, like, that is, I think, probably where the reactions are coming from. I had a really great time with this book because it was just so funny. I'm just like, I need something, like, just kind of, like, light and fun, because I had been reading just, like, a ton of, like, thrillers and stuff.
Yeah, I'm like, I need something not serious right now.
Yeah, so I'm like, I just need something a little, like, popcorn, you know? Like a popcorn moment.
I get it.
We call it a palate cleanser.
Yeah, so that was that. And I had a really good time with that, honestly.
I'm going to be reading this book.
Yeah, it very much gives, like, Leather and Lark vibes, type of thing. Also, I wasn't I'm not necessarily into, like, dark romance in the same way that, like, the girlies are into dark romance in that way. Like, that's not necessarily, like, my cup of tea normally. I did see someone that, I follow who does, like, book reviews, who essentially said that she liked this book more than Butcher and Blackbird, that it has the same vibe, but that she thought this one was better.
I think I'm going to like it more than that.
I would say, as an overall book, I think Butcher and Blackbird I preferred. I'm not into the mafia type of thing. Also, Butcher and Blackbird had so many, like, Easter eggs in that, that one's dealing with, like, serial killers killing serial killers, but the serial killers, were basically pulled out of, like, movies.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
So, like, I had a really good time reading that one, being like, oh, that's, like, Hannibal, and, like, oh, that's, like, Psycho. So, like, I preferred Butcher and Blackbird for that type of thing, besides the fact that, like, I just generally preferred that type of, plot, I guess, storyline. But it is, like, same, different font, so I did enjoy it. The banter was great. The, like, couple is so silly and ridiculous. But we also love an unhinged couple. Yeah, it was a good time.
Nice.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm excited to do... I think I definitely want to do the Ruinous Love series on, like, the main as well, and just kind of skip over the spicy parts, because that one definitely has a lot of plot. So we're able to kind of snip around it and still have, like, a full sort of episode for that. Because that's a more plot-heavy smut. And then same with A Soul to Take. So I figured we would also get those on, like, the main, too.
Oh, yeah, I have that to read, too.
Yes. For sure. So I'm excited to do those.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Alrighty.
All right.
Any quotes?
Any quotes? No, and that was so hard for, like, the quote posts. That was so difficult because all of the quotes were, like, so spicy. And I'm like, goddamn, let me find any quotes that are not spicy.
Just star them out.
So my quote post for that one is, I know, I did find one that wasn't spicy. It was more silly, and that's one that I sent you guys just because it I cracked myself up with Canva, I swear to God. No one should have given me this job because it's too much. But yeah, so the quote is, "Help me," I whimpered, Batman style. "Oh my God," she said with a shaky laugh. "You're not blind, your baklava sideways." Or, your baklava slid sideways. It's called a balaclava. One is a mask, the other is a delicious dessert. So yeah. And then I have, like, the picture of a baklava.
I remember a clip you made me listen to, and I don't remember the full audio, but just the narrator's kind of talking and kind of reading, then his tone changes, and, like, he's still reading from the book. It's like, okay, I feel like that was a little targeted towards me.
Yeah. Okay, so in the car scene when he's driving her home, she asks for him to present himself because she wants to give it kisses. And she basically says, "This is not for you, this is for me." And then he goes, "It feels like it's a little bit for me." And yeah,
the way that he said it was like just very like an aside, but I love the way
it
sounded.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good. Yeah, it was so ridiculous. It's so good. I highly recommend, if anybody is interested in this and you like an audiobook, or even if you've never read an audiobook, this is one of the better audiobooks. Honestly, I don't know that I would have fully loved this book. It is humorous, absolutely, but the voice actors just really make it.
Sure.
And same with the Ruinous Love series. Those audiobooks are so good. So, yeah, although, side note, the Ruinous Love series, I'm so positive that the male narrator is incredibly problematic. So just kind of bear that in mind. I haven't done a ton of research, but I have just kind of heard that guy is maybe problematic. So if you don't necessarily want to pay for those audiobooks, keep that in mind. But this one is the same type of style of like voice acting, and that is very, very good.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's on that.
That's a wrap on that.
It's coming out February?
This will be February 10th, yeah. So it'll be the Tuesday before Valentine's Day for this one.
Happy Valentine's Day!
Happy Valentine's Day! As we are filming this, like, the first week of January.
I mean, that's how everybody
okay.
does it. We gotta keep the content going. Mm-hmm.
I know. Especially with us switching to video, it's going to be a little bit harder for us.
Yeah, especially with the Beast Love audio.
I also love recording, though.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It's my favorite, though.
And again, follow us on Discord, on Instagram, Fable, all the good places TikTok.
Yes.
When we get our TikTok. Our TikTok should be up by this point.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
By now, we should have a TikTok. We should be on Apple streaming.
Oh, yeah, Apple.
We're obviously always been on Spotify. We're definitely on YouTube. Even our non-video episodes should be on YouTube as well, so you can listen to the audio for that just on YouTube. We're just trying to get more accessible and be on like more things. But again, we just kind of jumped in full steam ahead, so we're just slowly gathering. And I know that the audio quality is wildly different episode to episode, but hopefully by the time this one comes out, we've really just hit our groove and we should be good.
I'm hoping.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Yeah. One step at a time. Next year, we're going to be phenomenal. I'm just telling you.
I know. Can't wait. I'm so excited, honestly.
2027's our year.
Oh, woo! Hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
Oh, hell yeah.
And with that,
yeah.
Keep on yapping. Nick, it's your outro. You have to do it.
And I was going to say, yaps out anyway.
There you go, yaps out.
Yaps out.
Oh. Yaps out for the baps out.
You know, I'm glad I started this now and not a couple episodes ago when it would have been when women were yapping.
And you know what? We love a yappy woman in this house.
I mean, yeah, but it sounds like I'm being critical.
No. I think just the context of knowing who you are as a person, though.
Sure.
You're like, I don't talk, so I need a woman who will talk.
Entirely.
Mm-hmm. Literally. Which is why you found me.
Aww. All
right.
Great.
Yap on.
Yap.
Yap out.
Happy Yapentine's Day.
Yapentine's Day.
Oh my god. The couples who slay together stay together.
Yes.
Couple who puns together.
Runs together.
Hell yeah.
Bye. Lord of the Rings as ending, just...
Yes.
Ending. End already, please. God.
I know.